Hey everybody, welcome back to the channel. Today I'm going to talk about a little Tsunami Bar tutorial. What is Tsunami Bar, the technology behind it, and how to use it. It's going to be a series of short videos, so there'll be more following this particular one, and they'll be itemized out to where you can kind of click on one and just go straight to a particular informational package that you want to see. So welcome, let's get on board with the world of Tsunami Bar. So what is Tsunami Bar technology? It is a live dynamic technology, as opposed to what we've been used to over the years and years and years of resistance training, working out with static or dead weight. Tsunami Bar is flexible, and it's flexible because of the shell of the bar, made of a polypropylene, a no-break polypropylene. So don't get the idea that this bar, as you see it bending, is going to have the capacity to break it in half on you and cause possible injury, because it won't. This is a formulated polypropylene that you can pound with a sledgehammer and flatten it out, but to bend it back and forth, you're not going to break it. It's a very durable outer shell. It's got a good grip surface to it. It's 90 inches in length. It's almost 2 inches in diameter, not quite, but it is a fat bar, so you're going to incorporate the fat grip with this particular bar. And it has internal fiberglass components. Now, the fiberglass, as well as the outer shell, is not subject to breakage. Fiberglass, you have to understand how fiberglass is made for you to realize that it's not going to snap like a pencil might snap. Fiberglass is laid linearly, and as it gets to a weak point, it might splinter and fiberize, but that will just weaken the bar as opposed to the bar just breaking. So if you have one of these and it has some kind of defective material in it, the bar might weaken, and if it does, it just won't rebound like you've been used to. In all the years that I've been working with Tsunami Bar, I haven't had not one of these big bars, not one. Out of all the bars we've sold all over the world, I have not had one come back with a defective component, internal component to these bars. They are extremely durable. In our first initial test studies, we ran a bar on a machine that was set up to run a 24-inch stroke, 12 inches up and 12 inches down, at a speed of 1.73 feet per second, and it went for 1,000,000 reps. Counted them one at a time, all the way to 1,000,000. We took the bar apart. The internal components were as good as new. So these bars are very durable. They last longer than the steel bars I use. I can go buy a brand new competition deadlift bar from Alico and use it incorrectly, maybe leave it in the gym and somebody just sees it as another bar, they don't know the difference, and they load it up for shrugs and start bouncing shrugs on it with 500 pounds, and now the bar's bent and it's no good as a competition bar anymore. Steel bars bend. I haven't been in many gyms where I haven't put every bar on the floor and rolled them out to see which one's not bent, because that's the one I want to use to bench press with. So I have absolutely no problem putting this bar in play because it's durable, it's going to last, and I know it's going to be safe. So now what do we have to pick from? In the big bar lineup, the 90-inch bar, we have the speed bar, which is the most flexible, and it's loadable up to 90 pounds. That might not seem like a lot, but when you're working on speed, maximum effort speed, 90 pounds is a lot for just about everybody. Yeah, I'm still a pretty strong guy, and I can bench a fair amount of weight, and I still use this bar with 25-pound plates on each side. That's a 62-pound setup, and I do my speed work with that, the majority of it. So this is the speed bar. This is the force bar, and both of these bars weigh in the neighborhood of 15 pounds. So they're fairly light, and I'm going to show you why that's important here in just a few minutes. But this is the force bar. It's a little bit stiffer, loadable up to 270 pounds. That's 3 45-pound plates on each side. And if any of you ever saw the James Harrison video, the former NFL player with the Pittsburgh Steelers, he had a video out where he had 3 plates on each side, and he's mammothly strong, and he was moving the bar. When you can move 6 45-pound plates at the speed he was moving it, you got some mad strength going on. So this is the force bar, and I use it for those applications to where I'm still working with speed and volume and not maxing out at my top end weights for the most part. This is the force bar. And then you have the max bar. This one's loadable up to 540 pounds, and it's the stiffest of the group. And it's still got flexibility, so once you got that loading and unloading of the bar, 540 pounds with a little bit of speed on it equates to a whole lot of force at the bottom of the stroke, the eccentric concentric transition, where it can equate to 5 times the amount of raw weight. So this can be a pretty stout bar depending on how fast you move it. Then we have lat bars, a level 1, a level 3, and a level 5. But these have flexibility to it. And there's a component to the flexibility that allows for more muscular contraction in your prime movers and stabilizers. I'm not necessarily concerned as much with speed as I am the shock absorbing ability that these bars have to take pressure off of my connective tissue and the muscles at the point where you're stopping the weight. So if I'm taking a 300-pound stack to the top and I'm trying to stop it on a steel bar, it goes from all out motion to no motion in a split second. That puts a lot of shearing effect on your connective tissue and your muscular fiber. This will flex, it will bend to help absorb that stopping motion, so that weight stack that's moving at 300 pounds to the ground plus gravity will have time to spread out over the bar and into your muscular structure, not causing quite so much stress and abrasion to the body. So, level 1, level 3, level 5. These are loadable to heavier weights. This one works good at around 120 pounds. This one works good at about 200 pounds, and this is about a 300-pound bar here. And then you have the standard grip options. As you can see between these two, the standard lat bar is much wider, about 1.5 inches, 1.75 inches on the fat bar to 1.25 inches on the standard grip bar. So if you've got smaller hands, or you're working with younger people, or you're working with maybe females that are uncomfortable with the fat grip bar, the standard grip bar is a great option, and you get the same flexible qualities just in a standard grip option. The SG 250 and the stiff one, and the SG 150 and the one that's a little bit lighter. And then we also have a lineup of accessory bars, and they as well come in a fatter grip and a standard grip. These work fantastic on selectorized machinery. You can do curls, tricep work, face pulls, pull-throughs, hook them up on sleds and pull the sled. You can do seated rows. You can do all kinds. You can even do your lat work with these. It's just a narrower grip. On this particular bar here with the fat grip, this is the same diameter that we use in the bigger bars, so I can take plates and load them straight over the bar. So the plates are in the middle and my grip is out here on the end, and it's got flexibility out here, so it gives me the feeling, the comfortable feeling of a neutral grip on my wrist, just like a curl bar would. So this works great as a utility bar, whether you load the plates on the bar directly or hook it up to some type of accommodating resistance, chains or bands, or directly to a selectorized stack. So there you have some of the options, and this is only some. The Tsunami Bar lineup and the Comfort Grip lineup are fairly deep. There's a lot of product to cover, but this kind of gets you started in the initiation of what Tsunami Bar is all about. All right, now let's talk about how to load and unload a Tsunami Bar safely. Now, it's always best when you have a couple of people working on the same bar. That way you can work together and not have an issue of the bar flipping off the rack. Remember when I said that these bars only weighed out at around 15 pounds? That's pretty light compared to an Olympic steel bar, which tops out, well, the standard bar is 45 pounds. So I can load on an Olympic bar, I can put 3 45s on a side, leave the other side completely empty, and it's going to sit right there on the rack. That's not the case with the Tsunami Bar. If I put a 45-pound plate on this end and I have it moved out, this end of the bar is going to come up off the rack and it's going to flip off the rack. So if an accident does happen and the bar comes off the rack, everything's probably going to be okay, but you still want to practice safety, and I'm going to show you how to do it. This is how you load the bar. Right now it's completely empty. This bar comes with a spacer, and all this does is help space some of the weight out so you don't get it all loaded out here on the end of the bar. And it comes with this crock lock that's held in place with Velcro, and it has a pin in the center that you put through the hole in the end of the bar. I'm going to load the bar with 45-pound plates. Now, as you notice, I'm doing this by myself. It's completely safe to do it by yourself. And you always want to push the plates to the inside. That's going to give you the best balance on the rack so it won't tip off. Now, you also have to just eyeball the bar and see that when I'm passing by, I'm looking at the wear pads, the pads that sit in the J-cups, and just seeing that they're centered up pretty well. If they're really skewed to one side or the other, I'm going to pull them more toward the center so I don't have a chance of the bar flipping off, even if I've got the plate in this position right here. So now let's get the other side. Even though I didn't have to push that weight all the way in. I could have left it out and the bar's going to sit right there, but it's just a good habit to push the weights in. That way you cover all your bases so the bar has no chance of flipping off the rack. Now, as I load this bar, when I'm normally doing it by myself, I'll put the weight on and the crock lock on, but I wanted to show you how the weights can get on the bar safely, even if you're working by yourself. So now let's take the crock locks. And this pin is not centered in the crock lock. It is a little bit skewed to one end of the crock lock. And you want the pin closest to the end of the bar. You don't want the pin to the inside of the bar. You want the pin to the outside of the bar. So the crock lock covers more bar and puts the plates a little bit further inside, so that little dead spot that's on the inside of these bars where the internal fiberglass stops and then this rubber plug stops, there's a small little gap right there. And what you don't want is the weight of the plates being out over that little gap. You want that gap covered by this crock lock. So once I got that on, I can pull this weight out. I'm still good. I got this plate loaded up, so I know the bar's not going to flip off. Take the crock lock with the pin closest to me, the end of the bar. And boom, there you go. The plates are on the bar is loaded, it's ready for work. And I unload it in just about the same fashion. If I was going to unload it, I would start out by pushing the weights to the inside of the bar. Then I could take that crock lock off. I could pull this plate off. That's going to sit there just like that. Go on the other side, pull that plate off, bar's unloaded. All right, now we're going to work the bar. We're going to get under here, we're going to do a set of bench press. So whether I'm doing flat bench, incline bench, overhead press, a bent over row, the flexibility of the bar works the same. It loads and unloads. So we always want to be in a constant battle with the bar. We don't want to let the bar, if we bring it down, rest on the chest, the bar loads up, and then as the bar releases and starts to unload, then you put force into it to take it to the top. You're not in a battle with the bar then. At that point, if you let it unload, you're just riding it to the top. So your concentric work is greatly diminished. As that bar is loading, you feel it, you know it's loading, and you want to begin your push, your concentric move to the top. So you're beating the bar. You're in a battle with the bar and you're winning it. You reverse it, you get it going to the top. Now the bar unloads, you're trying to move it with speed. It's going to reverse the other way. And as it's loading at the top, you want to be initiating a pull down. What you'll see, and I'm going to show you this right off the bat, is that when people are doing it incorrectly, they'll go to the top and their whole body will lift up off the bench. It's because they're not initiating a pull down. They're getting it to the top, waiting on the bar to load, and it's pulling them off the bench. So let's see what that looks like. Setup is always the same. Try to build a little bit of an arch. Get your shoulder blades retracted, pinched together, and leave them there. Pressing my feet into the floor, pushing my shoulders down into the bench. Bring the bar off the rack. Now, if we were lifting regular weights, that's the way you do it. And you're really not getting any other benefit of the bar other than the raw weight of the bar. There's no dynamic involved. There's no live weight involved. So now we're going to put a little speed into it. It's going to increase the load at the bottom and increase the load at the top. So I'm getting more muscular contraction in my prime movers, more muscular contraction in my stabilizers. My heart rate volume is picking up tremendously. and it's just a better way to lift. If I'd have had this way back in the day when I was physique training, we always just worried about pump back then. We wanted the pump. How's the pump? This would have forced more blood into my muscle groups than anything I could have ever done with the steel bar, and I'd have had less abrasion, less wear and tear on my joints, and my body would be probably more healthy today than it is now. I've got aches and pains after all these years. This is the reason that I can continue to still lift, is because this bar is so much friendlier to the aches and pains that I have in the joints and in the muscular abrasions that I've built up over the years. So let's get back to the bench, get the setup. Now the reason I'm not coming up off the bench is because I'm pulling. Now I'm going to let it go. And you see it pulls me right up off the bench. If I don't initiate that pull and push my feet into the floor, the bar unloading is going to pull me up off the bench. So you want to be in a battle with the bar. Don't let it get on your chest. Stop it 3 or 4 inches off your chest. Let your body absorb the weight. And as it's loading, you're going to initiate the concentric move. That's the beauty of the central nervous system response you get with these bars. It's a 105-pound setup, and at that speed, which was average, I wasn't trying to work it really fast at all, just an average speed so I could get a load and an unload. I know that I was getting probably 4 to 5 times the amount of the raw weight in a dynamic load at that point of eccentric concentric transition. So that was easily over 400 pounds on impulse forces that I was getting, and my central nervous system responded to it.